Good job.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Through small acts such as turning off lights when exiting a classroom and shutting down computers, GLC reduced its energy consumption by 40% and saved over $20,000 on utility costs. Our student Power Save team is really proud of this fact.
And we're proud of you. Excellent. Good job.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you know our GLC greenhouse was constructed out of more than 2,000 recycled soda bottles with 35 calories and just one teaspoon? Thank goodness we didn't have to drink all that sugary soda.
What's your name?
Hazel.
Hazel. Well done, Hazel.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our school receives a fresh fruit or vegetable grant, which gives us a chance to try locally grown fresh fruit or vegetables based for 10 days and over a later.
Oh, boy, Hazel.
Good morning. We have an air quality control system in the city. This system monitors the outside air for particle pollution. This system tells us that it is safe for us kids to play outside. This system keeps our lungs healthy.
Excellent. Good work.
Play outside every day.
Yes, I hope so too. You know what you can.
Yeah, that's your job.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Recycling is a big part of our day, not only in the elementary classrooms. We encourage teachers and students to use reusable water bottles and release them. We kept over 10,000 bottles from becoming waste.
That's pretty great.
That's excellent
You
work.
get to see that today in
Congratulations.
action. Good job. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Pleased to meet you.
This year we were busy in our school garden and grew over 280 pounds of herbs and vegetables. That was enough harvest to sell weekly at the West End Farmers Market and donate some to local families in need.
Excellent.
Pretty cool.
That is
You'll have
very
to come out to
cool.
the
That is
farmer's
good
market.
work.
Sign-
All right.
It's something to be seen.
And the patrol arrives.
Security.
We all started new projects here at GLC and we have many plans for the future. We even started to spread our message to the community and get them involved. We hope you enjoy your time here with us.
Thank you.
So, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Do we have something to say to our visitors today?
You don't know me, but my name's Ivan. I'm a GLC Power Save guy. But it seems like trees might be worth a try. So I say let it grow. My name is Grace and my name's Anderson. Our friend Nelson kind of blows. And that's not good, so we suppose we should let it grow. Let it grow, let it grow. You can't reap what you don't sow. Plant a seed inside the earth. Just one way to know its worth. Let's celebrate the world's rebirth. We say let it grow.
make our guests cry. You did a very good job. Because they're almost in tears because that was pretty amazing. That was awesome. So this morning, I just want to say welcome. I think that was a great welcome, wasn't it? You know?
Absolutely.
So not only are we proud of what we're doing here at school, but we're here today to learn something. You're going to learn something from our guests, and they're going to learn something from you too. So without further ado, I want to introduce one of our speakers today. She's the commissioner from the Department of Environmental Protection. And if you just look at those words, her job is to protect our environment. So all the things you're doing through Power Save, all the things you're doing with your gardens and sustainability, you're trying to do the same thing. So her job is the same as yours, but she just gets paid for it. So we're excited to have her here today. So let's everybody give a warm green wave welcome to our Commissioner of Department of Environmental Protection, Ms. Catherine McCabe.
Thank you so much for your kind words, and boys and girls, for that amazing welcome that you've given us.
There you go.
There we go. Can you hear me?
They will, yeah.
You hear me now?
Sure.
Can you hear me in the back row?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Well, make sure to speak up. That's important. Thank you so much for that unbelievable welcome, for not only our welcomers down at the front door, but that song was just amazing. I want to take home the words. Can somebody give me the words to take home after our visit? The First Lady and I both care very much about the environment, and I have the great luck of having that wonderful job that is all about making sure that the air you breathe is clean, that the water that you drink is clean and safe to swim and fish and play in, and to making sure that you have wonderful natural places to go and visit. How many of you would like to grow up and have my job?
There you go.
That's great, because I am really looking forward to having you come to work for us in the future. There are a lot of other people who have the luck that I do to work at the Department of Environmental Protection, and they have many different kinds of jobs. So I'd like to tell you about a few of them. We have park and forest rangers. Who knows what their job is? Yes?
Their job is to make sure that when you go to the park, you're safe.
That's right. They make sure that you are safe when you go in the park, and they make sure that the park is safe from us, human beings, that we are doing a good job of taking care of our forests and making sure that they grow healthy and that they're protected, and that there will be a good place for you and someday, I know this is hard to believe, your children to come and walk and play in. We also have forest fighters, people whose job it is to sit up in towers and watch to make sure that if any fire comes up in the forest, that the forest fighters can get out there really quickly and put the fire out. We had that happen just the other day, where the forest fires spotted a little plume of smoke in the sky, and they were on it very quickly. It was a very big fire, but they were very brave, and they went out and they put it out for us. They do this all the year long, and we are grateful to them. The park rangers, of course, keep your visits not only safe, but they also are wonderful guides to the forest. So when you go to visit our parks and our forests, be sure to look out for our park rangers wearing those green clothes and green hats, because they are wonderful guides to teach you about the forests and the parks. We also have fish and wildlife scientists, and they help take care of the wildlife and the fish in our streams, and make sure that we keep the habitat clean and safe enough for them to grow and thrive in, so that they will always be there for you to see when you come to visit us. And some of them in our fish hatcheries actually grow the fish. They have nurseries. How many of you have ever been to a nursery for fish? One, maybe? Two, three, that's great. I encourage all of you to put that on your field trip list, because it's fabulous to be able to see, as I just did the other day up at the Peak West Trout Hatchery, the little tiny baby fish that they grow right out from their little eggs, and they eventually grow into these big giant fish, these beautiful rainbow trout that they can put then back into the river. Would you love that to be your job, to take care of that baby fish from this time to when it's that big and beautiful? It's a fascinating job, and we're all lucky to be able to have this kind of work. So we have many other kinds of scientists at the Department of Environmental Protection. We have biologists, and we have chemists, We have microbiologists, we have limnologists and pedologists and geologists. You can take your pick of many different kinds of science, and there is a job for you at the Department of Environmental Protection. We also have engineers. What do engineers do? Anyone know? Yes? They build things. So our engineers build some important things to protect our environment here in New Jersey. How many of you have been in a place that you see flood after it rains really hard? Yeah, we've got a lot of that in New Jersey. We are so lucky to have so much water here. But sometimes we have a little too much and our streams overflow. Yeah. So the engineers help us by building dams. And down at the ocean, you know, those piers of, you see the jetties, the rock jetties that go out. They're helping to protect our beaches. The engineers are also the ones who bring the sand back to our beaches after some of the storms wash it away. So we're really glad for them that they keep rebuilding our beach. So lots of jobs for engineers to do, and many others, people who work hard every day in many different parts of our department. So we have the dream job. I've spent my entire career in environmental protection, and I've done it at the federal level in Washington. So I've been all over the country and have had the opportunity to see many of the beautiful places that we have in this country. I've also seen many of the places that need some help and some cleaning up. And I take real satisfaction and pride in my job that I get to go to work every day and to help the environment. So I'm so impressed that all of you have a good start doing that too, and I look forward to seeing you again when you come to work for the Department of Environmental Protection. Thank you for inviting us here.
What I just heard is everything we're doing in school, learning about green energy and sustainability, will help you get a job when you get older. And all we have to do is call Commissioner McCabe and make sure, hey, remember me from George L. Catcherbone School? Okay. The next person I'm going to introduce this morning is somebody I met before they had the cool title of First Lady of New Jersey. She actually came out to an event that I was at. It was the Latino Association of America, where it's a group that gives money or scholarships to kids who weren't born in this country so that they can go to school, so that they have the same opportunity as everybody else. And the First Lady came out before she was First Lady, and she boldly stood before 400 or 500 people and stood up there and said this: I'm here to make you realize one thing, that children born in other countries that go to school and live in our communities are going to be protected and going to be safe. And we're going to make sure of it. And if my husband becomes governor, which he did, we're going to make sure those kids feel comfortable and safe in our schools. So her job is not just making you feel comfortable and safe, but she also has worked with the former Vice President of the United States to make sure our environment is safe too. So it's not just about feeling safe in school, it's making sure we all have a healthy and happy life and lifestyle. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you the First Lady of New Jersey, Ms. Tammy Murphy.
Thank you. I have some prepared remarks, but I have to tell you, this has been probably the most feel-good moment I've had in a while. Seeing all of your faces, having that incredible presentation when we walked in the door, and just having you all sing just now. I'm not sure, the environment, the entertainment industry, I'm not sure, but you're all pretty special, and I think you have an incredible program and some incredible teachers and leaders here. So I'm really happy for you. It gives me a lot of hope for the future. So Governor Murphy declared this week to be Environmental and Sustainability Education Week here in New Jersey. This is the first time that New Jersey is declaring a week that honors education about our environment and sustainability. It makes perfect sense to celebrate it at a school and district that is doing this beneficial work throughout the entire year. What an outstanding example you all are as students, faculty, and school decision makers for all schools throughout New Jersey. It pleases me to know that your school has made such tangible strides to reduce the school's environmental impact and footprint, improve the health and wellness of this school's inhabitants, and teach about environmental protection and sustainable practices through lessons and projects. Lots of big words, right? Yeah. Lots of big words. Okay. I really want to thank Dr. Salvatore and his staff of the Long Branch Public School District for their leadership in environmental education and commitment to sustainability. Who knows what sustainability is, by the way? Anybody?
They should all, if they're afraid.
You afraid?
Who's brave enough to say it? Anybody brave enough to share what sustainability means?
Okay.
I'm afraid because not one teacher raised their hand either.
So if something's sustainable, it means it's going to last a long time, basically. That's what we want, right? That's what we want. We want to keep our world around. We want to take care of the environment so it lasts a long, long time. Okay. I'm going to skip a lot of this because I just realized that it's not relevant for you guys. So I think that one thing I would like to reiterate that Catherine has just said is that I believe that each of you are getting such a great education. There will be a place in the future for each of you to become environmental leaders in our country and our world. And we all need to work together on that. You know, we talk a lot about the great shoreline that we all live on. And I think you may have we talked about the possibility for offshore drilling and what's happened lately? Do we know anything about that here?
I don't think so.
Okay, so our president wanted to open up our ocean here and allow people to come in and drill for oil underneath the ocean. And this past week, was it past week? Yeah, this week. In the last week, my husband made it illegal to do that in New Jersey. So that means that that's going to help maintain our waters forever, because you know what has to happen now? In between the land, the beach, and where the federal waters begin, which is what the government, the United States government owns, there's about 3 miles of land, of water, that the New Jersey state owns. And what Governor Murphy did is he said, no drilling, no building of any pipelines, which means if you can think about it, if you look at this, let's pretend that's New Jersey. If you start drilling here and you want to come on shore, you can't take the shortest route. You're going to have to take those pipes all the way down to either Delaware or up to New York. And it's going to be really hard and expensive. So that's good news for all of you for the future. But I think you guys can all stand up down the road and be leaders on these things. So one thing I do want to say is I want to read Governor Murphy's proclamation. And that is what made this week take place, and that's what brought us here to your school. I'm really glad we had a reason for it. So, I'm going to try and see if there's too many big words in this, and if there are, then we'll just cut it out and we'll go to the next part. How's that? Okay, so, whereas the National Environment Education Foundation will celebrate the 14th Annual Environmental Education Week during the last week of April by encouraging schools and organizations to explore their connections to the environment, showcase, that means show off, how you're making a difference on behalf of the environment, and share their stories with others, which you've all done today. Whereas the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, that's where Catherine is, the Alliance for New Jersey Environmental Education, and the New Jersey Commission on Environmental Education support this week in New Jersey and celebrate the schools and organizations that incorporate environmental education and sustainable practices into the school curriculum, after-school activities, community projects, field trips, and career education. And whereas environmental education strengthens student performance in science, STEM, and other subjects by making learning relevant to people's lives and surroundings, exploring how human activities affect the environment, applying creative and critical thinking skills to address environmental problems, and empowering students to develop solutions and take positive actions. And whereas green building design and sustainable practices such as recycling, you guys do all of this, as I'm thinking through, I've heard about every single one of these in the school. Energy and water conservation, renewable energy use, gardening, composting, help reduce emissions that contribute to climate change, improve student and staff health, conserve natural resources and reduce pollution, and help schools save money. And whereas New Jersey has a rich history of environmental education leadership and implementation statewide, and is home to several thriving, sustainable school programs, including several.
Whereas nurturing an environmentally literate and sustainable citizenry for tomorrow must take place today and every day in our classrooms, schools, and communities. Bill, the governor of New Jersey, declared that April 23rd through April 29th is Environmental and Sustainability Education Week in New Jersey, and he encourages educators in schools to conduct student-led environment activities and sustainable practices this week to showcase those efforts so others can understand the relevance and benefits of these programs. There's more, but that's basically just I want to tell you all, most importantly, I'm super excited to see this group at this age who even know what recycling is. The fact that you are composting and you're looking at gardening and you're doing things for the community and giving back, that's a skill that I wish all of mankind had, but particularly here in New Jersey. And I'm so excited to see this interaction at this level in your community and helping with the environment. So I hope you just carry on for the rest of your lives and look up to these great teachers and administrators, because I think you have some real gems here. So thank you for having me.
So before we start some question and answer, because I know you have a lot of questions about what was said, I think it's time for a really corny, sustainable joke. Are you ready for it? Okay, so what's the difference between weather and climate? You ready for it? You can't weather a tree, but you can climb it. It doesn't really require a clap. That was a terrible joke. But so we have some questions. And you know what I think was great? I hear that the governor has declared this week a week of sustainable practice. But you know what's so special about this school? It's not just a week. You're doing things in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, all year long. I mean, the fact that you actually have a club here that studies utility bills, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And it's after school and it's voluntary and kids show up and come to it. It's pretty amazing. The fact that you're encouraging your teachers power down, shut that computer off, save some energy. That's great. And then last year when I was watching your principal dive through the garbage in lunch, right, with a tarp and showing you this is where this is supposed to go and this is where this is supposed to go is pretty amazing. So it may be 1 week for New Jersey, but it's every day here in GLC. Today, we want to see who has some questions for our guests. Okay, go ahead. Just stand up, say your name and your question.
My name is Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. What do you want to say?
I gave up straws and lunch at GLC to help save sea. What is New Jersey doing to help eliminate the impact plastic straws have on sea turtles, sea mammals, and seabirds in our coastal communities?
Oh, so this is a big topic. Let me say, we had the two students that went to the recent, we actually have a local environmental protection. You went out at night and you presented this plea. And when we send the kids, we go, they don't listen to us. We send the kids and everybody's listening. So you asked them to do what?
To help us eliminate straws in restaurants and places.
So that's an initiative we're taking on. We've done it here in school, but we're trying to take it on throughout our community. And it's especially important now because there's a lot of construction and development going on. We want to make sure all those new restaurants that come on board are following the pattern. So great job, great job.
So what else can you do besides stop the straws? If you don't use them, then you won't throw them away, right? And what other kind of plastic gets into the water?
Plastic bags.
Plastic bags, plastic water bottles, just about anything made of plastic can find its way into the water. But most typically, most of what we see in plastic in the water are the things that people walk down the street and just drop. Or they're in one of our parks or at the beach and they just drop, whether it's a straw or it's a plastic water bottle. We don't think of what happens next. And you know, because you've probably seen the pictures of what happens once these get out in the ocean. It hurts the fish because the fish, it breaks into little pieces and then the fish ingest it and then it kills the fish. And it also forms some very giant islands out in the ocean that are amazing to see pictures of. I don't know if your teachers have shown you any of that, but it all starts back here on the land. So what we have to do is don't throw it away.
1,000 years to decompose. Is New Jersey going to help reduce the amount of plastic waste we have by getting rid of plastic shopping bags, plastic containers, or other plastics?
I'm going to just say two things. One is, I don't know if any of you saw this picture, but a sperm whale washed up a couple weeks ago, and it had 60 pounds of plastic inside it. So it's really a problem. I also don't think I'm speaking out of school, so if I am, then I apologize. But
You're in school. You're in school.
That's true. I am in school. But I am actually having a meeting next week to talk about plastic bags in New Jersey. So
Yes. It's very hard, and a state that I worked in before I came here was New York, and they had a big fight about whether there would be a ban on plastic bags in New York, and whether they would have a ban on styrofoam, which is another thing that tends to get thrown away and is indestructible. It's really, really hard for people to make these decisions because why? When you go to the store and you buy something, what do you need to take it home in? Bags. So what could we do to prevent needing the plastic bag to begin with? Yes. You could bring your own bag and bringing, yes? A reusable bag. Yes.
Or when you have the bag when you get home, you can take all your stuff out and put it in the cabinet.
Yes, that's a great way to do it. So set the example again, having people carry their own bags, and people in Europe were in the habit of this for many years and thought Americans still probably do think Americans are crazy for using all these plastic bags because you don't need them. You just need something to carry things home. So if we can get more of the reusable bags out there and set the example for other people, we can do a lot to prevent this problem.
Great. Some more questions? Yes.
300 second and third graders went to the beach to remove pollution. What is New Jersey doing to clean up our beautiful sandy shores?
We are out there as you speak with the beach patrols working on cleaning up. There's a lot of volunteer efforts, though. I have to say, the people of New Jersey are wonderful about organizing volunteer efforts along the shore so that the Department of Environmental Protection and the local towns along the beaches don't have to be responsible for picking up all of it. So they are particularly careful to do this right before the beginning of the beach season so that the beaches will be really clean and perfect for all of you to go and visit. But what we need to do, of course, is keep it up during the summer. If you see anybody throw anything away on the beach, what are you going to do?
Pick it up.
Yeah, pick it up, and the example that you set will cause other people to change what they do.
Other questions? Yes. Can you say your name real loud?
My name is Enzo.
Hi, Enzo.
The GLC government grew 284 pounds of fresh veggies this year. We sold them at the farmer's market. Is New Jersey helping to make community gardens to help bring fresh veggies to our families in need?
Okay. Well, yes, actually, we do have a lot of projects helping community gardens build. Particularly, we like to go into the inner cities, the cities where people don't have very often the opportunity to have a garden in the backyard, so people are not used to gardening. And we have a number of projects around the state where workers from the Department of Environmental Protection will go in and they will volunteer on their weekend, their own time, to go in and help build community gardens and teach people what you all seem to know already about how wonderful gardening is for the earth.
Great
I'm going to
question.
tell you one other thing on that. I met recently with someone who runs a big hospital system here in New Jersey, and that hospital system has determined that by helping to have community gardens, that the hospital's actually going to help the community, which in the end of the day will help the hospital, because people who don't have the right food and get sick and come to the hospital when they could have avoided that, then that's a good thing, because that means that businesses and other people are waking up and saying, that's a good way to move forward, and it's good for business too.
That's great. Other questions? Back?
So
Can you say your name nice and loud?
My name is McCabe, and at GLC we have a no idling policy to keep the necessary release of air pollution away from our students. What is New Jersey doing to help reduce the amount of air pollution due to volume of high cars, trucks, and buses on our roadways? And are there more plans to make more vehicles electric-based?
Yes, yes, and yes. New Jersey has rules against idling. New Jersey does enforce those rules when people break them. But do you know why people idle? Why do they usually idle? Because in the wintertime, if you're the bus driver and you're sitting out there at the end of your route or maybe waiting to pick up kids from school, it gets a little cold. So people tend to idle, the drivers will idle their cars, drivers at the ports will idle their trucks because they're trying to stay warm. So you're exactly right, electricity is the solution to the idling problem, where we need to idle to stay warm, because if you can put in electric installations, and we're working to put them in along highways and hope to bring them to the ports.
We're helping to clean the beach. We appreciate that.
Commissioner McCabe?
How are you doing?
Nice to see you, Mr. Press.
I was just,
Good job.
That's wonderful. I went out into the Double Trouble State Park the other day and planted one just like that out in the middle of the park in a very swampy place. It was really fun.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Good job, boys and girls.
Very good.
And we're right down this.
Here at the GLC Power Station, we have 45 students involved. We learn a lot about energy. One of the things we learn is how to do an energy audit. An energy audit determines how much energy is being used in the room. Here, would you like to try? But remember, don't flash in anyone's eyes.
Okay, sure.
All right, don't point it at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 73.9, what does that tell you?
What's that tell us?
The 73.9 energy is being used in the hallway.
Okay.
Good job.
That's good.
Come on
What's
in.
your target? Is there a target level?
No,
No, just lower than some level.
90.
Lower than 90.
Yes. Good, good.
Good job.
Here, come on.
All right, let's introduce you to a couple more students, boys and girls.
Could you spell both for me?
First name.
Could you spell your first and last name for me?
This is our, before they have some interesting facts, but this is our Project Lead the Way classroom. It's all predicated off of engineering, mathematics, and some of the sciences at a real early age. Like in kindergarten, they start like learning about structural engineering.
Oh, fabulous.
Stories of the Three Little Pigs, and Mrs. Roche is one of our teachers. Mrs. Stone is one of our
Nice to
teachers.
meet you.
And,
Nice to meet you.
Really great curriculum, really is.
So you've probably heard about career tech ed courses. So we got biomedical engineering class. We started at the high school, then we brought it all the way down to the kindergarten level. So they're learning about engineering design principles in a fun way where we're not using big words, but they are creating, exploring, and innovating. So go ahead. I know you got some words to share. Go ahead.
Here at GLC, we have aquaponic herbs. That is where we grow our fascinating herbs with the help of the waste of those two fish. We also learned how water is filtered to make the water healthier and cleaner for us to drink. We made our own water filtration systems over there.
Right over here, they had some projects.
So which one works best?
Do you have a sense? Do they know? Do you know?
Come on in, come on, boys and girls. You guys can come over here. You guys can explain the projects.
you're the ones that tell us what's going
After
on.
school on Thursday, we did them with rock, soil, or anything else that Miss Dale got us, and then we just wrapped them around, and this is the one that worked best.
So what's happening?
Yeah, we want to know what's in there so we can take it back and use it to clean up water.
You want to take it with you?
Yeah, maybe. We'll analyze it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad to see our new and future engineers.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So what did you do? Pour the water in the top here and see how it went through?
Yes.
And that
We
was
put
the
dirty
idea.
That's what they
water.
Sticks
remember.
with you.
Yeah, and it went
Exactly.
down.
It
See
really
which
does.
ones, so that one's the best one because it's not only, it has the most work
Yeah,
on there, but
yeah,
it's
your whole
clean.
department. Could be filled.
Got it.
Yeah,
I agree with that analysis. Okay, good. It's great.
that's wonderful.
So this is your dirty water. Fantastic.
That is.
Thank you. Good
Well
job
done.
explaining
Well
that. That's
done.
good.
Great job.
We'll have to hire you.
amount of waste we produce each day. Our principal, Mr. Volpe, likes to dig right in.
That crazy guy, right?
Glad to see your gloves are on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learned a lot that day. We learned how much we could actually sift through and how much is garbage and how much could be recycled. It was the results were astonishing. The
Yeah.
kids really couldn't believe it. How much, with some effort, how much we can really help. So
What percentage of it do you think was food waste?
it was very small. It was
Small?
It was very small.
Well, that's good, because we
Yes.
throw away an awful lot of food.
Yeah, we sure do.
It was astonishing to see how much when we started recycling and pulling out what we could recycle. How much the actual garbage could have been separated. Obviously, you don't dump as much. So
I came
it
to
was
school the day they were doing it. I didn't realize they were doing it. And he's with a flannel on. What's going on here? He's got a tarp on the ground. He's like, oh, we're doing a trash audit. And I mean, it was a pretty messy, smelly day. But it
Kids
worked
had a
out
lot
well.
of
That's
fun with it.
great.
Like you said, all these pictures are the initiatives that have been going on in the school for 3 years. And it's been like a school-wide theme here. Mrs. Stone and Mrs. Morey are probably on their way down
Yeah,
here.
they
But
are.
we're really lucky here. We have a couple teachers that kind of took the whole theme of things and just went with it over the last few
Very
years.
passionate. You got to find passionate people to make these things happen. So anybody could spark some energy in children. They have enough, but we have some really passionate educators and leaders here too that are excited about
That's
sustainability.
great.
So
That's so great.
And it helps. It really does.
great job. Excellent.
you.
We're doing a great job now, and he's even doing stuff that even with the products in the building and stuff to try.
So
to
we
get
were
everything
using
happen.
green materials for cleaning as well.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
we've been using this in the district for the last 2 years, and it's safe, for the kids, the teachers, for everybody, especially the custodians.
It's
You
good for your
spray it-
health.
Yes, ma'am. You spray it on, let it set for 10 minutes, then you can do y'all work, then you can come back and clean it. Clean it off. So
Might want to
it's
get some
great.
tips from you for that. My husband thinks that we should start cleaning our house.
We have some tips for you.
He does a good job making sure all this stuff is implemented when it came onto the district,
Sure.
from the buildings and grounds level and then down to the schools. And so, anytime there's change, but he really got it going well.
He has to
We're
deal
very
with.
consistent
Okay,
with
we're
it.
bringing over a ton of soil tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much.
Keeps you on your toes.
He did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Al. Thank you.
During the week, we get to try fresh fruits and veggies grown here locally. These nutritious snacks come from our school grant here at GLC. These snacks are very delicious.
Have you tried anything that you've never eaten before?
Yes. Yes.
Like what?
One time at lunch they put like new things like carrots and like rice and like different types of food inside of it and put like white things in it. So then they give it to us for us to try it.
That's good.
And I've never had cabbage, and it was my first time.
Really?
And how do those carrots taste compared to the carrots that you usually get?
It's pretty good.
Makes a big difference when they're fresh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're very lucky. We have two really great phys ed teachers too, as part of like the green team here, and filling out applications for the fresh fruit program every single day. It started off small, only twice a week, but then it grew, and kids get a healthy snack every day after their lunch. They actually take a cart up, right? We actually have our fruit helpers in the cafeteria that deliver it, and then later in the afternoon they get a healthy snack every day. And every year we've been renewing the application, and this really helps the kids really, get a little break, healthy snack. We're trying to promote the healthy living. So actually, you're going to see a little bit of it now. We're going to,
Oh my gosh.
and
Emily, you want to explain the Future Chef Challenge?
All right, we
She
have
was
also
number one
something
before you do that. She was
directed
number
of
one
the
in the state, so she never says no. I try to get her to say no, but she won't.
The Future Chef every year, this is the 8th year with Sodexo. The student has to submit a recipe for the 4th and 5th graders, and every year it's a different team. So this year it was Asian recipe, and to be honest with you, I was a little worried about Asian, but again, it was incredible. We have a submission from all the schools, all 4th and 5th graders, and then the committee meets and we choose 6 finalists in our district. So the 6 finalists compete, they come to our kitchen. We have an adult Sodexo employee is assigned to every student. Now, we don't do nothing whatsoever because we give them the recipe, we say practice. You need to practice. And they go and practice, they really practice. So when they come, we go through the training and we tell the student, you're the boss, you tell them what they need, you just need to make sure they're reliable. How many times did you practice at home? 2 times. Well, that was good. So,
Are we supposed to eat this? What are we doing here?
absolutely,
There you go. So good,
absolutely.
right? Come on, we got some hungry
And
people
also,
here.
we like to. I mean, we don't advertise it enough, but we also always, whatever is Jersey Fresh available, we deal with great vendors, and we bring in.
Okay.
In our school garden, we grow yummy vegetables like these tomatoes here. Our greenhouse stays nice and warm even in the colder temperatures. Right now, we have straw bale gardens in there instead of soil. But don't take our word for it. Go out and have a peek.
Okay.
Bringing bottles, and Dr. Salvatore came out and
Yeah,
helped
sure.
us
We
cut it and build
helped.
it. So
We were
everything
cutting
in here right now.
bottles for days.
You know the spring is, we've had a tough
It
spring.
smells great.
So we haven't really, you know, the weather's been a little bit difficult, but you'll see like as we move into May and June, we get, you know, Mrs. Morey, Mrs. Stone, they get the kids out here, a lot of the classes, they bring the homeowners out here, and they get involved in actually maintaining the garden. So a lot of the kids, it's not just 1 or 2 classes, a lot of the students from the school get involved in coming outside, and we like to utilize the garden. Actually, our spring concert, we're out here in the garden.
And then in the summer we have an extended school year program where kids come over, special needs kids from the high school.
Sure.
So they'll come over, they'll pick, they'll clean, they'll bring it to the farmers market and sell it, or we give it to the local ranchers.
Great. Good job. I love this.
Right around.
You haven't really experienced it until you go in, so please take a whiff.
2, 3, green ribbon, right?
One more.
Great.
Now over here.
Ilya, this is thank you!
I just want to introduce you to 2 teachers here. They're actually Stone and Mrs. Moore here. They, when we first started the building, we opened the building 4 years ago. These teachers are responsible for everything that kids do and the hard work over the years. They come in the summer, they volunteer their time, they actually run the power station. They're awesome. In charge of getting the 70s girls. They actually started the initial kids at a very small scale and then it grew over the last 3 years. So if none of this would have happened, that sign, none of us there would have anything happened if it wasn't for these teachers. And we really appreciate the dedication. Great educators.
I wish I had had a school like this.
My kids went to school and go to school. I go to here somewhere.
Right?
Yeah, so we're like, she's at home saying, turn the light off, do this. I'm like, okay, we got Yes, she did.
She did. I just realized.
Call her Rosie, Rosamella.
Nice.
Say hi to Keisha.
Good job.
We have it.
Like you said, it's pretty cute.
You brought some muscle with you. That's it. Not that you could handle it.
Taking this with us.
That's what
Spinach, lettuce.
Let me get
This is a
a.
fabulous school, really. It's done just incredible. Thank you very much.
We're proud to work here.
And I understand
We enjoy what we do. Are you from Orange? Yes. So I went to school here too.
I did. I felt I would.
Anything you plan on bringing back? Do you have any ideas?
Oh, I've got plenty of ideas. Yes.
Could you list a few that you heard today that you want to push for now that you
And you know what? Stay tuned. I'm going to put some things out on my Facebook because I'm going to take some of their top recommendations. I'm going to post them. So stay tuned. Thanks.